All right, recording techniques class. This is the quick tutorial for the multi-track recording assignment you are doing right now. I am sorry for being unprofessional and videoing the screen, but I just wanted to make this one short and sweet. So it all starts with the session. This is our Pro Tools session that we did in class on Monday, and the big thing to remember here is that you need to create a click track. So you've built a session, it's appropriately named, original multi-track recording or whatever. That's what I called it here. And you can get, depending on what it is you're going to record, you would have a mono or stereo audio tracks. And you'd get those set up with their inputs properly selected and everything. But the big thing that was unique and new here to this situation is you will likely need, I'd like you to definitely use a click track so that you learn how to do that, because you're going to need that at some point. And to do a click track, you remember you go up here to Track, and at the bottom there should be Create Click Track. And you do that, and it just creates it. In this case, we already had one in the session right there, but it created one here at the bottom. It automatically, all it does is create an audio track that's automatically called click, and it automatically puts this, it makes it super small for one, it's right here. And it puts this click plugin on it. That click plugin is available in the plugins folder, and you can mess around with that and learn how to use the click plugin. So that's the first thing, is you're going to need a click track. The click track follows the grid. The grid, which is set by the metronome thing here. So you've got to remember to turn off the conductor guy, because if that conductor guy is on, then you will not be able to change the tempo of your song. If the tempo of your song follows this like tempo line that you can change, you can program and automate, but you don't want that. You just want to set a tempo and have it stick. So you turn off the conductor track, and then you can just click there and type in a number, or you can use the T key, as I said before. You can just sit here and hit T, 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 T. Let's see, and T, T, and the number, then you're tapping your tempo in there and set it that way. So then once you get what you want, you hit return, and it takes it, and the grid then aligns accordingly, and when you go into grid mode, the grid will align with that. Also, you got to remember that to set your grid mode information to be what you want, like quarter notes or eighth notes, likely quarters for this, and it needs to be set to bars and beats. The grid needs to be set to bars and beats, not time. That would be confusing. And you don't want to have the dotted or the triplet thing selected. So those are all important points. You got to check all that stuff. And then when you're in grid mode, you'll see that actual grid, and when it plays, you'll see like it going 1, 2. Those lines will align with the click track. I don't have any sound on right now, but those lines align with what the click track is doing. So that's all correct and synced up. So it starts with that. So you get all that set up. Then, of course, your click track will be unmuted. Let's see if I got some sound here. Yeah, so see how those lines? The click is in time with that. All right, so that's how that's supposed to work. Now, of course, you don't want to be in grid mode when you're editing. You want to be in slip mode, but your grid should stay the same now that you have everything set up properly, because you want to be able to slide things around. So all right, so now the big thing is sending sound to your performer in the recording room. So everything is set to output A12. You know that, A12. A12 is Avid12. That's the output that's over here on the monitor controller, is labeled Avid12. We also have 3.4, but I'm not asking you to use that. That would be, you could set up a separate bus send to Avid 3.4 or A34, but we're not doing that for this assignment, but you could. Just wanted you to know that. So then you have 2 lines of buttons here. The top one is labeled Q. The bottom one, the one you use all the time, is labeled Main. This room is the main room. These are the main speakers. All these speakers. Anything you select here, this knob is feeding sound to from the main. So whatever is selected here as an input, Avid12 or the Mac line out or this aux cable which has been unplugged, but anything that is selected here is going to the main. And this is the volume for it, to whatever speakers are selected. This top line says Q. Whatever is selected here is going to the Q. The Q has its own volume level output. See, Q, and there's its volume knob. Where does the Q go, you might ask? Well, it's got special outputs on the back of this thing, and those outputs go over to a headphone amp that's down under there. And that headphone amp goes through the wall and it feeds out into the recording room for the musicians to hear. So that's what a Q is. So the important thing to recognize is that the Q has its own volume level. So when your musician puts their headphones on, you want to, and you get the music playing, you want to ask them how the level is, and then you can adjust it here first. They do have those boxes out there that have volume knobs on them, but you want to have those turned all the way up and adjust your level here first, and then let them turn it down if they need to later. All right, and if you turn this up too loud, you will clip that headphone amp that I told you about that's over there, and then you'll cause distortion, so you got to watch out for that. All right, the other thing to recognize is that this monitor controller has a built-in headphone preamp. So you can plug in some headphones down here, right here in the control room, and then this is headphone 1 and headphone 2, and you can select whether you're listening to the main output or the Q output. It doesn't make any difference if the main and the Q both are listening to the same thing. Like if I turn on the same buttons there, whether I'm playing sound from Avid 1.2 or from the Mac computer, both outputs are seeing the exact same thing. So that in mind, there's no difference as far as this is concerned. This is the volume for the headphone mix. This is the volume for the headphone mix. Matter of fact, this Q master volume does not affect how loud things are here. This only affects how loud they go out of here over to that amp. Just like this knob only affects how loud things go out of here to these speakers. Okay, I hope that all makes sense. So you can come in here, plug in some headphones, select main. It's wisest just to select, but it doesn't matter. Select it, whatever you want, as long as you know what's going there, and you should be listening to the same thing your artist is. And then you can hear what your artist is hearing in the headphones, and then you can that'll help you to set a mix as you get stuff going. They can be like, I want more of this, I want less of that, or more of my voice and less click. You can put your headphones on, hear that same thing, and make adjustments in here and hear what they're hearing, and that is really useful. So remember, Avid 1.2 is the main output on the Pro Tools that we always use. Avid 1.2 is right here. As long as it's selected in here, that's what you're hearing. As long as it's selected on the Q, that's what they're hearing. Both things are hearing the exact same thing. The only thing that's different is you have a separate volume knob for in here that they have or out there. That's the only thing that's different. And you can plug in and listen to the mix on headphones via these volume knobs, via these jacks. All right, let's go into the control room and see the rest of this. Not the control room, the recording room, and finish it out. So over here on the wall, on the left wall box, it says headphone feeds right there. Those headphone feeds, well, there's 2 of them that are XLR, meaning mic cable, so you like that. And the rest are 1/4 inch. They're all wired together to the same exact headphone amp. This is how it was built. So these all work if you were to plug headphones directly in here, or we have headphone extension cables on the wall, like 15 footers. You could just plug headphones directly in, but then you don't have the option of having an attenuator box out here. So it's kind of up to you. It sounds better, actually, without the attenuator boxes. The attenuator boxes actually degrade the signal a little bit, but they offer the convenience of a volume knob, so we tend to use them. Anyway, so we've got 2 boxes hooked up, and you can chain the boxes off of each other. So you can run another box off of you can run one box and then in and out of it and off to another box and run them all together in series. We only have one other box, so that's not that big of a deal, but you could do that. Anyway, so the box is hooked up to the headphone output there. There's a box laying on the floor there for convenience, and there's a box laying on the floor over there. You can put them wherever you want. You can extend them with mic cables. And then, like I already said earlier, you want to make sure their volume knobs are all the way up when you get started. If somebody starts with a volume knob down and they're like, oh, I need more signal, I need more, and you turn it up in there first before you have this turned up, you're going to crank it in there to the point of distortion and clipping the headphone up, a headphone amp, and never have really gotten loud enough, all because this was turned down too far in the first place. So you need to, and it's really confusing, and so you need to make sure these are all the way up before you start. Then set the volume in there to where it's good. And then if it gets too loud, the artist knows they can just come here and grab this knob. They don't have to bother you. But whenever you start with a new artist or start again, always turn these back up full so that you have maximum headroom available. All right, then that's it. Then, of course, you need to grab a pair of headphones over there. plug the headphones into the box, and then the rest is just whatever it is you're recording, whether you're recording a vocal mic or instruments or whatever. You know how to do that. We did that in class. Plug everything in the normal way and go for it. And remember, as you instantiate new tracks, you need to record arm the new track, unrecord arm the old track, and make sure that everything's playing together, and pay attention to what you're doing with regard to what is playing and how loud as you set a mix as you go and lay tracks. Anyway, I am sorry. I know I did a lot of redundant talking in this. I was just kind of winging this one, but I hope it's thorough, and I will see you guys on Monday, and I guess that's it.